Justine Bateman, the Old Spice model you introduce as an example of how new media could work worries me a little bit, because it would seem in that model that it's hard to distinguish between content and advertising. In the new media ecosystem, are you worried that advertising and content will become so mixed up that it will be harder and harder to distinguish between the two?
Well, I feel like when it's done right, I mean, who needs to distinguish between the two? I don't feel like I feel like if the content's done right, and if the story and the level of quality of the content is the top priority, then a brand involvement, it can only elevate people's enjoyment or absorption of the brand's brief. You know what I mean? I don't think, look, extended commercials that are just like most of the digital initiatives, that's interesting. To me, that's not like entertainment content. I think like Easy to Assemble is entertainment content. I think In the Motherhood is entertainment content. And the brands are involved with that, yes, but you're more so, you're not pushing the brand's message as much as your content matches up with that company's brand brief for the year, really. You know, and there's other ways. I mean, if you're getting an RFP for a, you know, for a digital initiative, that's another thing. You are making more of an extended commercial, and then the brand really is the star of that content, and that's the main objective. But I think otherwise, you know, I mean, again, Old Spice, it wasn't a, I mean, there were scripts written, but it wasn't a scripted content narrative that they were, that they had going with Old Spice. And yet, really, there wasn't a lot of talk about the product itself. It was more this, you wanted to be a part of this comedy that was going on. You wanted to be a part of, is his name Isaiah Mustafa? Do I have that right? You wanted to be a part of what he was doing. He did a great job. Everyone involved with that did a great job. Wyden Kennedy, everybody. And it's completely enjoyable. I mean, people are applauding those commercials. Most people boo commercials in movie theaters, and people are applauding those commercials in movie theaters. I think, you know, P&G allowed Wyden Kennedy to really engage with the audience, and it was done very successfully.
So this interview is not an advertisement for Diet Coke. It's an autonomous piece of content. We may have advertising. I hope we have advertising, because someone's got to pay my wages. But in all seriousness, when you were a star on Family Ties, you weren't selling aftershave or soft drinks. You were acting in a narrative. How would you feel if, in another version of Family Ties, the whole purpose of the online show was to sell aftershave or soft drinks?
I think if it was still the outstanding writing that we had on Family Ties, and that was part of how we were funding it, and the way it was incorporated was organic to the show, then that's fine. Look, I don't do commercials. I don't enjoy watching product placement. I think it turns the viewers off. I think it's bad for the brands. But when something's incorporated organically and it's just part of these people's lives, and the show is in line with the brand's mission or vision or how they want to reach their audience, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, is anybody like up in arms about Reese's Pieces being involved in E.T. or FedEx being involved with the film Castaway? It was part of these people's lives, and you know, and then for the brands, they're able to really touch people in a way that you can't with a commercial. I mean, people forever after, you know, the Reese's Pieces, I mean, that was like a dormant brand where sales went up, I think, like 60% in the 3 months following the release of that film. That's tremendous. And then people, I don't know if they still do, but for the longest time, like, associated Reese's Pieces with this associative advertising, which was more popular in the 70s, is something I'm very interested in. They associate then people coming together, making connections, friendships, reaching out to someone who's different than you. All of these things, even if it's not consciously, subconsciously, that's what they're going to associate with Reese's Pieces because they've seen this film. That's just smart. And you know, I as a writer and an actor and producer, I don't have a problem with that.